Evening, my friends, and welcome to the first episode of the Ex-Fugitive Factor. I'm your host, Jeremiah Aaron Sitterson. So, we're going to go a little bit in a different direction than I was originally planning for my first video. This video is actually going to focus more on the Epstein list. But before we get to that, let me give you guys a full disclosure. I'm an intelligent asset to the people that I work with, but I've never been an intelligence asset, nor have I worked for the United States government or any other government for that matter. So understand that I'm not ex-military. I have never worked for the government. I've had I've had some interesting contact with the government, and you're probably wondering, who is this douche and why should I listen to this guy? Well, I've seen behind the curtain on Wall Street. I've seen behind the curtain in the entertainment industry. I've seen behind the curtain in the judicial and criminal justice system. I've seen behind the curtain on the local and state level, the federal level, all different levels. I've had a peek. Unfortunately, I probably know a little bit too much, but I'll tell you one thing that's not going to happen. I'm not going to get snowed in. So a lot of things I'm going to have to either just not talk about. It's not a lot of things, but there's a few. And then certain things, especially as it pertains to this video, which I'm going to do my best to convey the message without getting too detailed, because it's just not when you hear the message, you'll understand why it's not wise, and it's really not. So we're going to go ahead and get into a lot of interesting stuff, and you guys are going to enjoy this one. So so the disclaimers out there: I'm not law enforcement, I'm not government, I'm not anything like that. I'm actually an ex-felon, as you could probably figure out from the Ex-Fugitive Factor name in the title. This picture behind me is me on a first date at the White House in Washington, D.C. It was my second time at the White House as an extraditable fugitive. It was second time there out of 3 times. So I went to the White House 3 times as a fugitive. I'm the only person in history to ever do that. The second time I just visited and went on a blind date there. So to put the rest, there's some individuals we're going to discuss later that think that I'm in the government and stuff like that. We are going to talk about my third interaction with the FBI, maybe fourth, I don't remember, but we will talk about that today. But we'll get into the others later. But I've had contact with the FBI. I've had some. I have one that I know of with the NSA that was very bizarre, and that's how I ended up in the state of Florida. So I will tell that story eventually. That's a story for a different time, maybe, or maybe it will get touched on today, because NSA, that's not an organization that's talked about often. So I think that's pretty interesting. But anyways, I've had no contact with the CIA that I know of, and then of course on state and local levels, I was pursuing a political career in my younger days. So, I've been around the block, a few different blocks, and I also served 5 years in prison, and that wasn't fun. And I will say this, all these guys out here that are glorifying being a gangster and being a criminal and all that stuff, if that's the content you're looking for, that's really not what you're going to find here. In fact, what you're going to find at the end of each of my videos is some of the most wanted individuals in my local surrounding areas and the state of Florida, as well as on a federal level. So if I've had clean hands now for going on 10 years. I made a mistake that I will put out a video very soon about. However, we're not going to get into that today. But yeah, so I mean, being a gangster ain't cool. Going to prison ain't cool. All these dudes, no, it's really truly not. So, anyways, the real topic of today is system versus no system. And with system, you do not get the Epstein list. With no system, you get the Epstein list. And we're going to weigh out the pros and cons of that today and why not getting the Epstein list is actually in the best interest of the entire country. However, there are solutions that I believe the general public that's outraged, which is a large percentage of the public, will be comfortable with, and there'll be the real Epstein list, so to speak, that I'm gonna tiptoe around a little bit and kind of explain to you guys the system versus no system, and why, even though the system is definitely not perfect and it does need some adjustments. It needs in chiropractic terms, and by the way, guys, I'm not a medical professional, but sometimes, I have been known to diagnose people with baby dick syndrome. So if I do that, just please understand that I am not a licensed medical professional. And yes, the system and the government, they need what's called a ring dinger. If you don't know what a ring dinger is, YouTube it, because it's the real deal. I've had several of them. You'll feel like a new person. And by the way, I have no association with any of these guys on YouTube. But I'm just telling you, if you're in pain, go get the ring dinger, because I'm going to throw little nuggets at you throughout all these videos where, if you're paying attention, you might actually learn something. Because to be honest with you, I shouldn't even be here right now. I've got a very interesting story, and we're going to go over blacklisting and how that actually really works. There's a lot of things that we're going to go over, and then at the end, I'm going to give you a few different solutions that I think the public will be happy with, and that I think will serve realistic justice. Because, by the way, guys, if you think that the criminal justice system can handle the real Epstein list, the full Epstein list, then you have no idea what you're talking about. Because I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but let's just say, if the true Epstein list, which, by the way, everyone's, the elites are the least of your worries. Okay, the elites are 1%, and there's 1% of them that are chomos and child molesters. So the elites should be not the ones you're worried about. Okay, because this is a very complex and tiered system, and I'm going to do my best to not reveal it too much, but to make the public understand and make you guys understand why a different approach needs to be taken with this issue. So anyways, let's get started with system versus no system. With the system, okay, the system is corrupt. All systems are corrupt. I don't care what country, what state, what county, none of that matters. They're all corrupt to a certain degree. That is going to be the case for all of time, in every anywhere where it's human. So you guys need to get over that, because life ain't fair. It is what it is. And by the way, another disclaimer: if you are soft and if you're allergic to the truth and you're allergic to reality, you've already wasted several of your minutes. You should just move along, because I'm just going to upset you, and then you're going to, it's just best if you stay happy. I want you to stay happy, and that's kind of where we're going with this. So system versus no system. So for all of you guys out there getting all jacked up that think I'm going to say, oh, we need to take out the system. Well, actually, the ultimate thing that I'm going to say, spoiler alert, we should not take out the system. In fact, if the system were to implode and we take out the system, guess what? massive death, massive victims, massive casualties. Like right now, with the entire, if you look at the world in its entirety, the world stage, no, our system can't collapse. We have too many enemies. Okay, whether or not Trump, all this stuff coming out about Trump, we're gonna address that later, President Trump. Um, but yeah. Now, did Trump open up a big can of worms on the global stage? Of course he did, and I'm not mad at him for it. I think if it's followed through, then we'll be good. But there's a lot of things at play right now, so it needs to be followed through on, and no one else has the backbone to fucking do it. Excuse my language. I'm gonna try not to curse while I do this, but nobody has the backbone to do it, and yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a fact. Nobody has a backbone to do it. So those of you, any of you that do know me, which isn't going to be most of you, but any of you that do know me personally, or you do know me for a long time, you know that I am 100% against child molesters. And once you hear my full story, you're going to understand why I have so much insight. Okay? And I'm not saying that it's not possible that Trump did bad things. I'm not saying it's not possible. But what I am saying is that I actually personally don't think it's probable. And once I lay out my whole case and put the whole thing out there, you're going to understand. Just those pictures, those pictures don't mean much, okay? Because just because he was in the industry, okay, doesn't mean he was sleeping with underage girls. He could have been sleeping with 18 or 19-year-old girls. That I would believe, okay? But there are some men that draw a hard line. And the blackmail operations, the bread and butter of it is child molesters, but that's not the only thing that they can use. And we're going to get into why, honestly, why the agencies do that, and we're going to get into why they actually need to do that. Because when you break down companies and when you break down the government, who's going to rise to the top? I'm going to tell you who's going to rise to the top. People with personality disorders, social disorders, sociopathic tendencies, psychopathic tendencies. It's natural selection. No matter how much AI is out there, there's always going to be survival of the fittest and natural selection. And they're the ones that rise to the top. And I can tell you, not all of them. I mean, Trump is a red-blooded American male, but I think he likes beautiful women, okay? Now, whether or not he had knowledge, we're gonna go, we'll touch on that. But once you understand the system in its entirety, it's gotten out of hand. So without revealing too much, because like I said, I'm not getting snowed into on this one. The game, it was the same. I don't want to say it was the same game. It was fundamentally the same game, going back, probably thousands of years, but it definitely, in the 1800s, it got more organized to the point where when you have people that are ambitious and not a pushover and litigiously aggressive, physically aggressive in some cases, when you have those type of personality types, they're hard to control. Okay, they're going to do what they want to do. So and a lot of people, this is not going to be popular opinion, a lot of people are not going to agree with me on this, but for the good of the people, and I'm going to explain this later, but for the good of the general public, there needs to be a level of control. Now, I don't condone child trafficking in any way, shape, or form, and I do not condone any type of sexual abuse against anyone, especially a child. But and there really is no but. It's hard for me to continue past the but there is something past the but, and what's past the but is reality. The system is what it is right now. It's getting a shake up and a scare for sure, and it needs to be fixed. However, control does need to be maintained. It does, for your good, for the guy that goes to work every day and his family's good. It needs to be maintained, because if it's not maintained, then we are vulnerable on all fronts, and we're already like financially being aggressive with a lot of different countries. There's a lot of different things going on in Ukraine and all that with Russia, with China. We do not need to be collapsing when this stuff is going on. Okay, that's if you think that that's a good idea, then you are the dumbest of the dumb. I hate to break it to you. I told you you're not going to like me, but if you think that we need to bring down the system, you're the dumbest of the dumb. Now, if you think we need to end child trafficking and child sex crimes, I'm with you 100%. 100%. And I have solutions, and we're going to get to those at the end. But as far as the entire system collapsing, you have to understand, okay, things changed in the early 2000s. What I'm going to refer to as a mechanism was introduced, okay? This mechanism changed the entire game, because the intelligence that was once localized was no longer localized, and it was no longer for watching that episode. I know I left you hanging. I apologize about that. That wasn't my intention, but that's just how the cards fell on that one. So if you want to see part two, that's what I highly recommend, because I cut the BS in part two and we actually dive deep into that mechanism, the system in its entirety, and how that relates to Epstein and how that relates to the global socio-economic picture. But yeah, so we'll get into that in the next episode. Right now, we got the Most Wanted segment. This is our first episode of the Most Wanted segment. So to give you guys a quick overview, we're just going to feature one wanted individual in the state of Florida and one wanted individual nationwide through either the FBI is looking for him, or the United States Marshal Service is looking for him. So yeah, so we'll get into that. Unfortunately, I do want to apologize to all of the responsible adults here that are law-abiding citizens and that do value their time. But real briefly, we got to get the stumps in the back. It's a necessary evil these days. Stumpy! Stumpy! Where are you, Stumpy? Come over here. Hey, Uncle Stumpy, come here real quick. These guys. But yeah, so unfortunately, a lot of is growing epidemic these days. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and accommodate them, make sure that they're at least have the opportunity to move out of stumpdom. But I do have a news flash for the stumps out there. The police are cracking down on swatting. Swatting's become kind of a popular thing, especially amongst gamers. It's not popular. It's not funny. It's not a good idea. You're going to get a criminal record. You're probably going to spend some time in jail. And then you're going to just go down the wrong path. So how about you avoid being called Stumpy Jr. for the rest of your life by all your friends, because essentially you are dumber than a stump if you're going to call the police and give them false information and try to get them to raid someone's house. That's ridiculous. and you do deserve to be punished, regardless of whether you're 15 or 45. But all stumps of all ages, I got your guys' back. I want to make the world a better place, so I went ahead and put together a free course, and this course is completely free, and you guys can take a snapshot of it. This is the course. It's step 1, get a job. Step 2, obey the law. Step 3, take care of your body. Step 4, get a second job or some more education. And step 5, don't be a douche. And that's the hardest step. And I know you guys have a short attention span, so this is the whole course. All you got to do is take a snapshot and just every day work towards doing all of those steps. And then one day you will no longer be a stump. All right, so nobody wants to be a stump. Nobody wants to be called Stumpy Jr. Not do stupid things. And let's get back to business. So now we got this guy. He's wanted by the FBI. Elpidio Reyna. He has scars and marks. Reyna has a tattoo on his left arm of the word Carmen. So be on the lookout for that. These are some interesting pictures he's got here. He was born in 84. That puts him roughly, about 41-ish. Brown eyes, 165 pounds, black hair, 5'7" in height, and he is a male. He's a Hispanic male. This guy should be considered armed and dangerous, but with that being said, and I should have said this before, all the people I show in here are innocent until proven guilty, okay, in a court of law. So they're captured and tried and convicted. They're still considered innocent. It's alleged that he did this. But nevertheless, these individuals that I show you should be considered armed and dangerous. Do not approach them. Don't tell them you know they're wanted. Don't get involved. Call the police, call the appropriate law enforcement, and don't be a douche. But yeah, let's take a look here. So the FBI is up to a $50,000 reward for information leading to his arrest and conviction. Once again, he's considered innocent until proven guilty, but he allegedly assaulted a federal officer in the city of Paramount, California on June 7th, 2025 at approximately 3:30 p.m. Reyna allegedly threw rocks at law enforcement vehicles on Alondra Boulevard, Paramount, California, injuring a federal officer. The FBI set up a digital media tip line and asked anyone with information, photos, and/or video footage to submit them to the FBI.gov/LA officer assault. If you do have any information concerning this guy, please contact your local FBI office or the nearest American embassy or consulate. With him specifically, you can reach out to the Los Angeles field office and they'll take care of it for you. Anything with the FBI banner on there has been sourced from the FBI's official website. This is all public information. I don't know anything about any of the people I put on here. I do not want to know anything about any of the people I put on here. So don't be a douche. Don't call me. Call the police. And again, we got this guy, innocent until proven guilty. His name is Wayne Hall Jones Jr., aggravated battery on a pregnant woman, false imprisonment, and domestic battery by strangulation. All of those are enhancements. This guy, I don't know what he's got going on, but Crime Watch, thank you for sourcing that. He's 37, 6'1", black male, 159 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. And the DeLand Police Department is the ones that are looking for him. Again, his name is Wayne Hall Jones Jr. If you see this guy, he has a warrant with no bond, national pickup, so he is extraditable. And currently his whereabouts are unknown. Reach out and submit a tip through the Volusia Crime Watch or call the Sheriff's Department or the DeLand Police. They put a phone number up there. Call that number, give them the information, submit the tip, and do the right thing. They are offering a potential reward for this guy. Tips that lead to the felony arrest of suspects and or recovery of stolen property and drugs may be eligible for a cash reward of up to $1,000. So if you want to get the reward, you have to call this tips hotline. But I would call the police first and get the police on it, especially if you know his current work. I would go that route. But again, sorry guys, but we do have to bring this to attention every time. Do not call me. All right, Stumps? Are you guys focusing? Focus. Do not call me. All right? Call law enforcement. I don't want to know anything about these cases. I have nothing to do with these cases, and I'm not law enforcement. So you call the appropriate authorities and do not call me, because don't be a stump. It's super simple. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this episode. Make sure you click on the next episode, and have a great day.